What happens when a man who has everything refuses to help someone who has nothing? What if that single moment of indifference was actually a divine test? Today, I'm going to share with you a story so powerful, so unbelievable, that it will challenge everything you think you know about faith, compassion, and the mysterious ways the universe works. This is a true account of Marcus Caldwell, a millionaire who walked past suffering every single day until one ordinary Tuesday morning, when he ignored the wrong person. What happened next defies all logic, shook an entire city, and transformed not just one life, but thousands. Stay with me, because by the end of this story, you'll never look at the people around you the same way again. This isn't just a story about miracles. It's a story about awakening. Before we continue, leave a comment telling me what city you're watching from. I really want to see how far the power of these stories is reaching. Marcus Caldwell had built an empire from nothing. At 42 years old, he owned 3 luxury car dealerships, a chain of upscale restaurants, and a real estate portfolio that stretched across 5 states. His penthouse overlooked the glittering downtown skyline, and his custom-tailored suits cost more than most people earned in a month. Every morning, Marcus followed the same routine with military precision. He woke at 5:30, worked out in his private gym, showered, dressed, and left his building at exactly 7:15 to walk the 4 blocks to his favorite coffee shop. The walk took him through the heart of the city, past the morning rush of commuters, past the opening shops, and past the people that most others pretended not to see. The homeless, the forgotten, the ones who slept in doorways and held cardboard signs with desperate pleas scrawled in marker. Marcus had perfected the art of not seeing them. His eyes would glaze over, his pace would quicken just slightly, and he would pass by as if they were invisible. It wasn't that he was cruel, he told himself. He had simply learned what every successful person knows. You can't save everyone, and if you stop for one, you'll be surrounded by dozens. Besides, he donated to charities. He wrote checks at fundraising galas. That was enough, wasn't it? On this particular Tuesday morning in late September, the air was crisp and cool, carrying the first real hint of autumn. Marcus left his building right on schedule, his Italian leather briefcase in one hand, his phone in the other, already scrolling through emails. The city was waking up around him. Delivery trucks rumbling past, metal shutters rolling up over storefronts, the smell of fresh bread drifting from the bakery on the corner. He barely noticed any of it. His mind was already at the office, running through the agenda for his 10 o'clock meeting with potential investors. He was halfway to the coffee shop when he noticed her, an old woman, probably in her 70s, maybe older, sitting on the sidewalk with her back against the brick wall of a closed bank. She wore a faded blue shawl over a simple gray dress that had seen better days. Her face was deeply lined, whether by time and hardship, but there was something about her eyes. Even from a distance, Marcus could see they were remarkably clear, almost luminous in the morning light. She wasn't holding a sign. She wasn't calling out. She was simply sitting there, her gnarled hands folded in her lap, watching the stream of people pass by. As Marcus approached, their eyes met, just for a second, and in that second, something flickered across the old woman's face. Recognition, maybe, or expectation. She raised one hand slightly, a small gesture that was almost a wave, almost a reach. Her lips moved, forming words Marcus couldn't quite hear over the traffic noise. But he knew what she was asking. Help, money, time, something he didn't have to give. Marcus looked away. He tightened his grip on his briefcase and walked faster. His phone suddenly seemed very important. He pretended to be engrossed in an email, though his eyes weren't really reading the words. Within seconds, he had passed her, and the moment was over. Just another homeless person, just another invisible soul in the city's endless parade of need. By the time he reached the coffee shop, he had completely forgotten about her. The day proceeded like any other. Marcus dominated his investor meeting, closed a deal on a new property, had lunch with his attorney, and spent the afternoon reviewing financial reports. He worked late, as he always did, leaving the office just after 8 in the evening. The city had transformed in his absence. The daytime crowds had given way to nighttime revelers, couples heading to restaurants, groups of friends laughing their way toward bars. Marcus felt the familiar satisfaction of a productive day as he walked back toward his building. He was almost home when he heard the sound. A soft crying, coming from the alley beside a closed grocery store. Marcus slowed his pace, his instincts telling him to keep walking, but something made him pause. The crying grew louder, more desperate. It sounded like a child. Against his better judgment, Marcus turned and peered into the alley's darkness. A little girl, no more than 5 or 6 years old, sat on the ground beside a dumpster. Her face was streaked with tears, her small body shaking with sobs. She wore a pink jacket that was too thin for the cooling evening air. Marcus looked around, expecting to see a parent nearby, but the alley was empty except for 2 of them. "Hey," Marcus said, his voice awkward with an unfamiliar gentleness. "Are you okay? Where's your mother?" The little girl looked up at him with wide, frightened eyes. "I don't know," she whimpered. "I can't find her. We were walking and I stopped to look at something, and when I turned around she was gone." Something in Marcus's chest tightened. He might have been many things, but he wasn't a monster. A lost child was different from the usual street beggars. This was an emergency. "Okay, don't worry," he said, crouching down to her level. "We'll find her." "What's your name?" "Maria," the girl whispered. "Maria, I'm Marcus. Let's go find a police officer, okay? They'll help us find your mom." He held out his hand, and Maria took it, her small fingers cold and trembling. They walked together to the corner, where Marcus remembered seeing a police car earlier. But the street was quiet now, no officers in sight. Marcus pulled out his phone to call 911 when Maria suddenly tugged on his arm. "Wait," she said, pointing down the street. "I see her. I see my mama." Marcus followed her pointing finger and saw a figure in the distance, a woman in a blue shawl, walking slowly away from them. Maria broke free from his hand and ran toward the figure, calling out, "Mama, Mama." Marcus followed, jogging to keep up with the running child. But as they got closer, confusion clouded his mind. The woman Maria was running toward, the woman who turned at the sound of the child's voice and opened her arms to embrace the little girl, was no young mother. It was the old woman from the morning, the one he had ignored, the one sitting against the bank wall. "Thank you," the old woman said, her voice soft but clear as Marcus approached. "Thank you for bringing her back to me." "I don't understand," Marcus said, breathing hard. "You're her mother? But I saw you this morning. You were alone. You were homeless." The old woman smiled, and there was something in that smile that made Marcus's skin prickle. "I was asking for help this morning," she said. "From you specifically, but you walked past me. How did you know I would come back this way? How did you know I would help your daughter when I wouldn't help you?" "Because everyone has a line," the old woman said, holding Maria close to her side. "A boundary they won't cross. You can ignore an old woman begging on the street because you've convinced yourself she's made bad choices, that she's where she is because of her own failures. But a child, an innocent child in danger, that crosses your line, that forces you to act." Marcus felt a cold wave of discomfort wash over him. "Who are you?" he asked. "I am exactly who you thought I was this morning. A woman in need. A woman asking for help. A woman testing whether compassion still lives in the hearts of those who have been blessed with abundance." "Testing me? What are you talking about?" The old woman's expression became serious, almost stern. "Do you know what you passed by this morning, Marcus Caldwell? Not just an old woman. Not just another homeless person you've trained yourself not to see. You pass by grace itself. You pass by an opportunity to serve something greater than yourself. You pass by the divine disguised as the desperate. You're insane, Marcus said, taking a step back. I'm calling the police. That child needs proper care and you need help. Look around you, Marcus. It was a simple command, but something in her voice made him obey. Marcus turned his head and realized that the street had become impossibly quiet. No cars. No people. The streetlights seemed dimmer than they should be. The air felt heavy, charged with energy he couldn't name. What's happening? He whispered. You're seeing clearly for the first time, the old woman said. You're seeing without the filters you've built, without the walls you've constructed between yourself and human suffering. Look at me, Marcus. Really look at me. Marcus turned back to face her, and what he saw made his breath catch in his throat. The old woman was changing. No, not changing exactly. It was more like he was seeing past the surface, seeing what had been there all along. Her weathered face still bore the lines of age, but there was a radiance to it now, a light that seemed to come from within. Her simple clothes remained the same, but they seemed somehow regal, dignified. And her eyes, those clear eyes he had noticed even in his haste that morning, now blazed with an otherworldly brilliance. Who are you? Marcus asked again, but this time his voice was barely a whisper. I am known by many names, the old woman said. I am the mother of sorrows and the queen of heaven. I am the one who said yes when asked to bear the unbearable. I am she who stood at the foot of the cross and felt a sword pierce her heart. I am the advocate for the forgotten, the voice for the voiceless, the comfort for the afflicted, and I walk among you still, in the faces of the poor, the sick, the lonely, the abandoned. I am in every person you pass by without seeing, every hand you refuse to take, every cry for help you pretend not to hear. Marcus's legs felt weak. He wanted to run, but he couldn't move. The Virgin Mary? He managed to say. That's impossible. Is it? Is it impossible that the divine might choose to appear as the powerless? That God might hide himself in the form of those the world considers worthless? Did not my son himself tell you that whatever you do to the least of these, you do to him? Tears began streaming down Marcus's face without his permission. But I didn't know. I couldn't have known. That's exactly the point, she said, her voice gentle now. You shouldn't need to know. You shouldn't need a burning bush or a choir of angels or vision in the night to move you to compassion. The man lying in the street shouldn't have to be Christ himself for you to offer him a blanket. The woman begging for food shouldn't have to be a saint for you to share your abundance. True compassion doesn't ask for credentials. It sees suffering and responds, period. I don't know how, Marcus said, his voice breaking. I don't know how to be that person. I built my whole life on being tough, on not letting emotions control me, on keeping focused on my goals. And what have those goals brought you? She asked. Wealth, certainly. Success by the world's standards. But joy, peace, purpose, love. Marcus sank to his knees on the sidewalk. The truth of her words cut through him like a blade. He had everything and nothing. He was rich in money and bankrupt in meaning. What do I do? He asked. How do I change? How do I fix this? The old woman, the virgin, the divine mystery standing before him, smiled with infinite tenderness. You begin with one step, one act of kindness, one moment of seeing, and then another, and another. You ask yourself before every decision, does this serve love or does it serve fear? Does this build walls or bridges? Does this honor the divine in others or does it feed my own ego? She reached out and placed her hand on his head. A blessing. I'm giving you a gift, Marcus Caldwell, a gift of sight. From this moment forward, you will see clearly. You will see me in the faces of those you once ignored. You will feel your own heart, the hunger, the cold, the desperation of those who suffer. You will be unable to pass by indifference because you will carry their pain as your own. This gift will be your burden and your salvation. Marcus felt something shift inside him, like a door opening in a room that had been locked for years. Light poured in, painful and beautiful at once. "I don't know if I'm strong enough," he whispered. "You're not," she said simply. "Not alone. But you won't be alone. I am with you. Grace is with you. And every time you choose love over fear, every time you stop instead of walking past, every time you give instead of hoarding, you will feel the strength that comes from surrendering to something greater than yourself." The little girl, Maria, who had been silent through all of this, suddenly spoke. "Will he be okay, Mama?" "He will be more than okay," the Virgin said. "He will be alive, truly alive, for the first time." She looked at Marcus one more time. "Go now, live differently. And remember, I am in the faces of all who suffer. You will never pass by me again without knowing." The world rushed back in. Sound, movement, the normal chaos of city life. Marcus blinked and found himself alone on the sidewalk, on his knees, tears drying on his face. No old woman, no little girl named Maria. Just him and the indifferent city flowing around him. He stood on shaky legs and walked the remaining block to his building, but he didn't go inside. Instead, he turned around and walked back the way he had come, back to where he had seen the old woman that morning. The spot was empty now, but there were others. A man with a sign asking for food. A woman with 2 small children huddled in a doorway. A teenager with a backpack who looked like he had been sleeping rough. Marcus approached the man with the sign. "Excuse me," he said. "Are you hungry? Can I buy you dinner?" The man looked at him with suspicion, probably expecting a trick or an insult. But something in Marcus's face must have convinced him because he nodded slowly. "Yeah, man, that would be good." They went together to a nearby diner. Marcus bought him a full meal and sat with him while he ate. The man's name was Robert. He had been a construction worker until an injury left him unable to work. His savings ran out. His family drifted away. He ended up on the street, invisible to the thousands who passed him daily. Marcus listened, really listened, and in Robert's face he saw her, the Virgin Mary, the Divine Mother, the sacred hidden in plain sight. That night was just the beginning. In the weeks that followed, Marcus's entire life transformed. He used his wealth to establish a foundation that provided shelter, job training, and support services for the homeless. He converted one of his unused properties into a transitional housing complex. He recruited other business owners to provide employment opportunities. He spent less time in boardrooms and more time on the streets, learning names, hearing stories, seeing faces. His friends thought he had lost his mind. His business partners worried about his focus. But Marcus had never felt more clear, more purposeful, more alive. The gift she had given him, the ability to see the divine in human suffering, had awakened something in him that had been sleeping for decades. He couldn't pass by anymore. He could not see. 6 months after that September evening, Marcus stood in front of a crowd of donors, activists, and formerly homeless individuals at the grand opening of the Mary House, a comprehensive support center named in honor of the encounter that had changed his life. As he spoke about compassion, dignity, and the sacred worth of every human being, he saw her again, just for a moment, an old woman in a blue shawl, standing at the back of the crowd, smiling at him. And then she was gone, dissolved into the gathering, indistinguishable from anyone else. Marcus smiled back. He understood now. She was always there, always present, in every face, every outstretched hand, every person the world had taught him to ignore. He would spend the rest of his life making up for the times he had walked past, making up for that September morning when he had been too blind to see Grace sitting on a sidewalk, asking for help. The truth had set him free, not the freedom of wealth or success or power, but the freedom of purpose, the freedom of connection, the freedom of love. And he was never truly alone again. If this story touched your heart, if it made you think differently about the people you pass every day, do me a favor. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Leave a comment about a time when you helped someone or when someone helped you. And remember, the next time you see someone asking for help, you might be entertaining angels unaware. You might be standing in the presence of the divine. Don't walk past. Stop. See. Serve. Because that's where real miracles happen, not in the grand gestures, but in the simple act of choosing compassion over indifference. Thank you for watching, and may you see clearly the sacred in everyone you meet.